Hi, I'm Brandon Saffa, and I want to welcome you to Variety Sports Network. We're so honored to be bringing you a place for the best sports content creators out there today. From football to baseball, hockey, to just a wide array of sports talk, we have everything you can ask for in one place. So we just want to say thank you for coming by and enjoy the show. This is a Variety Sports Network production. Now to your host.
And we are live here on a Sunday morning here for episode 136. I got Brian Johnson here with me. I'm your host, Darren Briare, here on another episode of the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast. Brian, we got a lot to get into on the sporting world this week. We got obviously the NBA the Western Conference, Eastern Conference Finals, a lot going on there. I got some fun football questions and stuff going to get into. We'll also give a huge shout out to a legend in the sports world that passed away this week. And of course, we'll wrap it up with our winners and losers of the week. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
I'm doing good and just ready to get talking about the topics.
Are you going Diet Mountain Dew again this morning? What do you got today?
I got
a different choice here.
Sparkling ice.
Oh, I can't do the sparkling. That's not my thing. I can't do the sparkling ice there with that. So, Brian, like I said, we got a lot to get into today. Tyler, shout out to Tyler. He couldn't join us this week. He was at a wedding. I have no idea where he's at, but it looked like they were having a good time somewhere. So I'm sure he's out watching the program, or maybe he's still sleeping, Tyler, or sleeping this morning, Brian. You never know how the wedding went, right?
He's probably sleeping still.
So shout out to Tyler, who couldn't be with us this week. So we'll hold down the fort for him. Casey, who knows, right? Maybe he's here once in a while, kind of joins. We call him, he should be Floater McGee. That's the nickname for him. So we got that there.
Yeah, I really want to get into shoulder taps to Jimmy, but every time I want to get into it, Casey can't make it on. So
never can make it on, but we'll get into Jimmy a little later here. I got to give some shout outs here to some guys here that Brian on the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast, that we appreciate that. We've been able to go on some shows lately with them and do some shout outs, and all the support kind of helps us, kind of keeps me going. Like there's certain weeks like when we do this where I'm like, oh gosh, like yesterday I was supposed to kind of do it Saturday with Tyler, and I was like, I just couldn't do it. I had the week that was, and I just like, you know what I mean? Those type of things. I was like, I'm not getting to it this week. Big shout out to our guys over at the Vegas Bench Warmers. Brian, I don't know if you ever listen to them in the morning. We got Chiefs fan, Raiders fan there. They do a lot of good stuff in the morning, kind of about the same time we do it here, but they do it on Saturday mornings. Do a great job on their podcast. They did a 1985 NBA draft lottery look back, the one that Ewing got let's put it this way, went to New York conveniently. Let's put it that way. So we're going to get into that a little bit later here, the NBA lottery. So appreciate you guys tuning in. You guys do a great job over there. So be sure to subscribe, like over to the Vegas Benchwarmers over there. We'll get into the A's later. We do not want them in Vegas, though. Maybe get an expansion team. That's not who we want to go to Vegas there. So, and absolutely we do. Hey, Brian, I also got to let you know this guy's a Chiefs fan. I just got to remind you, who beat you guys in the Super Bowl? What was that? I forgot. It was
the Chiefs. Don't remind me. Mahomes has been our daddy lately.
Well, if Mahomes is your daddy, then he's our daddy, stepdaddy, all of it. I'm a Raiders fan, so you know where he's been, and he'll probably continue to be. We appreciate you as well. So thanks for tuning in here for a little time here. And Lockin, we got a lot to get into, so appreciate it. I was going to shout out you guys here, our guys over at Far End of the Bench, Out of Your Falcon Mind, 7th Inning Stretch, TMB Podcast, 3 The Hard Way, Let's Be Real, our guy Seawood, DA, Realism Sports, our guy Chris Morosco, Hoops of Agenda. They've been doing great work lately. You guys have been working hard over there. Josh Lewis, and then, of course, our usuals, Ryan McGurk, our friends over there, our family, my mom. We got our aunt over there in Memphis that tunes in and locks in, gives me some good feedback there. Our guys over the Glorious Batters, and these other guys, these new guys, the other sports show, they're here on Variety Sports Network. The guys, Jesse and James, They shouted us out on their show last week. They do a lot of MMA stuff, which also the guys over here at Vegas Benchwarmers do. They do a lot of fighting stuff. I didn't get to watch the Lomachenko fight last night. Apparently, he lost. It sounds like there needs to be a rematch. I was hoping Casey be on because he watches it a little bit more than us. That was a whole, by the way, on that. So wanted to shout them out and as well. So Brian, a lot of shout outs there, but like I said, like sometimes when you do this thing, it feels like, it feels like a village. Sometimes you're kind of in this market and just kind of an interesting way to meet people through it. And who knew me and you would be doing this for your birthday week here podcast. And so appreciate all those guys. And of course, our guy, I can't forget my guy, Golden Brooms over there, Vandy Chris. He helped me a lot during the postseason there with the NCAA. So I wanted to shout out their podcast. They had a good one this week as well. So those are our shout outs there. Brian. Man, I was also going to say one quick thing before you get into it is, how often do you go on social media?
Like all the time. So I'm on Instagram like every day.
I'm wondering if like sometimes I should like give it up for a period of time. What do you think?
I mean, it's pretty tough to do that,
especially when you're trying to do a podcast, huh?
Yeah, that's a very tough thing to do.
I don't know. I was just through my thing in that regard. So yeah, happy birthday there! Shout out here for the guys there.
And then go Golden Knights today.
You go for the Golden Knights. I was going to get into that a little bit later. It's hard for me to go Golden Knights because I have a little thing. Obviously Pavelski out here with he played for the Sharks, but that was kind of going to be one of my things. Is it okay to root for another team? Like in that regard, like can you root for another team? Like, but I don't like the Stars. Like they used to kill us. It was like it's not like I want to root for them, but Vegas. The Sharks did have that pretty famous comeback against the Knights. I'm sure there's a lot of controversy around that one from their angle. So,
we have to talk about, are they the best expansion team so far in NHL history?
What's the deal with all these expansion teams too, man? They get it going early. They get it, like the Kraken. Even they got it. They made it to the semifinals this year. So yeah, man. What you got here? Yes, as long as they are not in the same division. Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much. Yeah, that's the problem is when they play for a team in division, it feels a little bit more personal, right? That's probably like you guys didn't even. That's why I felt like Niner fans never accepted a guy like Richard Sherman. I never felt like that was kind of. I mean, he's still solid for you guys, but I think it was tough for your fan base to accept a guy like that. So I always think about things like that. What did you think about? We got some of the playoffs that went on this week. Brian, we had the biggest surprise here so far. What do you got? Is it Miami? Is it Denver being up 3-0 after they beat the Lakers last night, or is it Miami winning 2 in Boston? Which one's more surprising to you?
I'd have to go with Denver because they've been coming out like world beaters. Like they knew what the Lakers were going to bring, and they just countered it, and they've been coming out fast.
It's funny how Caldwell Pope came back to kind of bite him a little bit there. Yeah, yeah, exactly. He's a Niners fan. That's why I brought up the Chiefs because you guys beat him a few years back in that comeback. So that's why I brought up the Niners fan. I'm a Raiders fan, so that's why I always like to bring up the Chiefs with him once in a while when we talk about home. That's why he called him your daddy, and I'm in division when you guys are always our daddy. So. Yes, hopefully you almost had Niners Chiefs last year, but we won't want to talk about that quarterback situation. We'll talk about that a little bit later. In that case, now he's talking about the famous play. All right, now he's going that one. He's going about the famous play. To beat you, I love it. I'm tuning in. I appreciate it.
Why do the Chiefs have to be so good?
I don't know, man. They're like one of those teams that's not going to go away for a very long time. They're going to be like that Colts. And those Patriot era where there's going to be their nuisance forever, and they're always going to be in it. Well, they still have Mahomes. It doesn't matter if they got by that time they might have 10 teams in the playoffs. They're the 10th seed, so they'll still be they'll have a chance to get in there. All right, back to this question real quick. So I got to say Miami though in a case too. I mean, who would have thought they would have won 2 in Boston right there, and the way they did, being down 8. I got to say that's pretty surprising as well.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Boston would be able to hold the home court, and they haven't been able to do that. So, and they're going back to Miami. So it's looking more and more every day like a Denver Miami NBA Finals.
Crazy to think that. It's kind of like reminds me of like that Suns Bucks one. They do that a couple years ago. Yeah, I got the Heat as well. I just feel like that's obvious. They're the 8 seed, and the fact that they lost the first playing game and now they're back. They're right here with now they're the favorite at this point going into back to Miami. Or if you think they just get one, they're still the favorite there to close it out. So, and they got Butler, who's at this point the best player in the game, and in some ways you say they have the best. Or best playoff player, it feels like, left, and you feel like they have the best coach in some regards. So I don't know. I thought with the Lakers back here, what we got here, we all thought the Lakers would be here. No one thought the Heat would be here, let alone up two on Boston as the 8 seed. No doubt. I completely agree. But Brian, I do like you kind of calling out the Lakers though a little bit. I do appreciate that. And Mike Malone would have Mike Malone, if he was listening to this, he'd say, put it in your cigar, right? Smoke that bad boy. He'd like that talk. Yeah. And that's the thing about the Nuggets. I got to say that probably was the most impressive win in their franchise history last night. You look back at all the wins they had. Got Tyler tuned in. What's up to you? Hope the wedding went well last night. He's up. He's up. We weren't sure he's up. Get that. Was he got a little orange juice going there? Maybe a little something special in it, but he's tuned in. We appreciate it, Tyler. Yeah, I just think Denver at this point, just what a franchise altering win too. You know what I mean? I feel like they were the favorite going into the series because they just had more pieces than the Lakers. The Warriors just weren't able to take advantage of that stuff. So I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening here moving forward into the finals. But I got to say for right now, most impressive. I got to go Miami in this regard. But Denver, kudos to you, man. That's pretty awesome. We got a guy Ryan here tuning in. AD been violating the paint rule. It would be better if he gets a tent in the paint. He doesn't feel like he's moving. Everybody calls Jokic slow-footed. Man, at times Davis feels like that too, Brian.
Yeah, he does, because he's just like sometimes he's camping out in the middle of the paint, just waiting for the basketball.
Yeah, they've been sagging off, daring Murray to beat him, and Murray's just been killing him, Brian, killing him. The other night, what do you have, 24? I think I'm wrong. I think he had more than that in the fourth quarter.
I think Denver's got tired of falling short, and this year they want the whole thing.
Denver's such a random team to be in the like. What's their fan base? Like I know like Broncos country, you get that right. Like they've been there since like the '60s, late '60s, but the Nuggets, they've been there a long time too, but it just doesn't feel like, I don't know, like I know a couple of guys now in their fan base, like, so I can see that with Nico and like the passion he has there, but you just don't think as Denver as that kind of town. Like, so it's kind of cool to see a new team kind of getting into the playoffs, and it's their turn. They got to win it this year. I feel like this is their opportunity. This is like the Bucks a couple of years ago. This is their time with Jokic to win the thing right now.
Would this be the first time they made it to the NBA Finals?
This would definitely be the first time they made it to the NBA Finals. The closest they got was against your Lakers a few years back when they had the Anthony Kobe.
Oh yeah, Carmelo Anthony.
You guys took them out in 6. That was a good series though to start. It was 2-2, and then you guys ended up blew them out in Game 6. I think you won by like 24 points.
That's when we had Paul Gasol, right?
Yeah, big pal there, and then you had Raw. I think you had Raw at that point. Yeah, or if not, you had a reason at least at that point. Yeah, one of the swing men at that point. All right, why don't we keep it going with the next question here? Bigger blunder, Williams getting in the face of Butler, or Boston beat out coach? Which one's a little bit more concerning, real quick?
I would say Boston getting out coached because
it feels like it, right?
Yeah, I know. I mean, getting out coached by an 8 seed. I mean, what's going on here?
I love this point here about Murray. When it is unreal how. I'm actually glad you brought that up. Is back in the bubble, remember how like explosive he became in the fourth quarter, and he became one of those fourth quarter guys. And then a lot of people forgot about that because he was hurt kind of a lot of the last 2 years. And then you had that weird COVID year, kind of where it started. He is now he just so clutch down in the fourth quarter. Like, yeah, he has Jokic to play with, and they both have such a rapport. And he's getting all these open looks. And he kind of reminds me of that Bibby rule a little bit in the fourth quarter for the Kings. You remember that where like he's hitting more threes, but you remember how Bibby would come off those little handoffs from Weber and then just get these wide out. And it kind of feels like that same kind of looks that he's getting, but just 20 years later. So I think it's pretty awesome to see. And those two together is a dangerous weapon. But again, that Pope just hit some big shots the other night too.
I definitely got to say it's Jokic's Scottie Pippen there.
No, that. I agree. He's got to be. He's got to be a Scotty. If not, he's not going to win. We saw that last year. I think with the coaching part of it, I thought was I'm concerned with the Celtics part of it because I've heard from people that like the Celtics all year, like they just hate the way he doesn't call timeout, certain situations like that. But he's going against an all-time coach right now in Spoelstra. Like he's just going up against it. To the Williams thing real quick is you don't poke the bear. Like you just don't do that when you're up. And you don't do it if you're Grant Williams. That's just not something you do. You don't poke the bear like that. You don't. What's the point? He's been on fire. Why are you the guy that's going to do that? Jason Tatum, Brown, still don't like it, but whatever. I feel a lot better about it if it's not you.
Yeah, I mean this is 2020 Butler, so you don't want to be making that go.
Hey, real quick, do you think the Heat, Denver get people are worried it's not going to get good ratings? Do you think that would actually be the case? Do you think there's a strong enough NBA fan base here, where it still gets I don't know, middle of the pack ratings all time?
I mean, it's something different, so I think that would get it some ratings, but it's still probably going to be middle of the pack. It would get a lot more if it was Lakers, Miami.
Over under the first 5 rows of the Heat fans will be filled. That's going to be my bet. On the TV, you never see it filled. Come on, for the finals, they got to be filled before the game.
Yeah, they were always even back in the Alonzo Mourning years, they were always weird about filling those stands even for the playoffs.
Appreciate Tyler too. That's insane there. That I agree, Tyler. I agree. I real quick here on the Warriors. I got to touch on my Warriors every week here. Of course, as people know, Kerr says I'll get into more with Tyler when you're back, of course, on some of these points. But Warriors, they've lost some trust. Kerr said, well, obviously the punch heard around the world. That's going to lose some trust. They said that came back to bite them. No, you know what? We're not prime time yet, Tyler. So we got, so of course that's going to happen. We got Heat versus Denver will be a rating, but it is probably, yeah, you're right. Everybody wants that Boston, LA thing, right, Brian? Everybody wants Boston, LA. And I'm sure Mr. Silver was sitting there in his chair, wanting the matchup. But I don't know, as a fan that watches the NBA year in year out, it's funny how we don't want those. We don't care about the money in that regard. We're like, who cares? Because the Lakers are not as good as the Nuggets. So it's we don't want them in the back to the here we got with the Warriors here. They lost trust in it. Can Poole and Green both be on the team? I got Draymond and LeBron's relationship. Can Clay take a pay cut? A lot of stuff right here, Brian. But those are my little Warriors notes for the week. Just to touch on a couple here. Let's go to what Tyler said here real quick. Get rid of Poole. My counter to that, Brian, is whatever happened to the idea of the guy had a bad season. Let's see if he can bounce back.
Yeah, I just have a feeling that Draymond Green's probably going to go somewhere else and test the free agency and see if he can get a bigger contract.
Is that because because LeBron is his new favorite teammate?
So you think he ends up with the Lakers or something?
I don't know. I mean, every moment he gets, he's complimenting the man, and I don't get it. I get a kick out of these Twitter memes when they're when they go into where it says I know it's fake, but it's a picture of Draymond on his pretending he said this on his podcast, and he's like, my king did this, and I'm like, I just gotta find it funny, the way they joke about it with it. I don't know, I find the relationship fine, in that regard, but gosh, if I don't know, LeBron's the one guy we want to beat year in and year out. Why is it got to be LeBron that we got that guy with? To Poole's point, I don't know, I know he was just awful, god awful, terrible, one of the worst players in the league. And he has one of the worst contracts. That's the problem. His contract's bad. But who's going to trade for it? I mean, can they get Turner from the Pacers farm? No. Do you want to give up Kuminga and Poole for Turner? Is that what you do? Maybe you do something like that. So that's maybe the Warriors do. And then the Clay point with the pay cut, there's got to be a team out there that would still pay him max money. But from a Warriors standpoint, he basically missed 2 years when they paid him knowing he was going to be hurt the first year, and then he gets hurt again. So it'll be very interesting, Brian, what happens with Klay Thompson's part as well.
And then the other topic should be, will the Warriors make a run at the Greek Freak?
Well, they don't have the money right now. They'd have to free up a lot of money. That's the issue. Yeah. I mean, sure, let's make a run at it, but why the hell, if you're the Bucks, why are you trading? You're just getting a new coach, and you're the owner. All right, yeah, well, Jordan Poole and Kuminga. Can we do that? This is NBA 2K. Can we do that? My guy Ant from Memphis asked a great question this morning to me on Twitter. I felt like I had to pose it here, and I'll pose it back to myself here. Brian, you too. What do you got here? You can take the entire career of Moody, Wiseman, or Kuminga. Who are you taking? So, who do you think will end up with the best career out of those three?
I think it'll end up being if Wiseman's given a chance on another team.
Well, he's supposed to be now with Denver.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to say Kuminga still. I just feel like his defensive upside, if he's locked in, and some of his offensive ability to jump and just if he can knock down the three at like a somewhat rate, I just kind of feel like his upside is better than anybody else's. But we'll see what happens there with it. Anything else with you with the NBA playoffs or anything that stood out to you, Brian?
I mean, it's just I thought maybe the Lakers would be somewhat competitive, but it's just been a one-sided series. That surprised me.
You got Wiseman with Detroit here. It's funny. I was thinking about Wiseman with the Warriors. We talked about that a little bit last podcast, like with him with the Warriors, how big of an effect could that have, made for the Warriors? And I think with him in Detroit, he's going to get that freedom. So we'll see if he can get the guards to help him out. He's got Cunningham. He had Ivy this year. We'll see what Detroit does again with the 5th pick this year in the draft. But he should have plenty of playing time now. Can he stay healthy? I still feel like
I think the Vegas guy was saying that because you said that Wiseman was on Denver.
Oh, gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Sometimes I talk so fast that I don't know what I'm saying. So, and Reed, obviously.
I'd be like, man, if Denver had Wiseman too, like,
they would play him. No, I appreciate that. I think Wiseman, I think he does have some good upside there. Apparently, he was the next closest one still on my list with it. All right, let's keep it moving here. All right, as we kind of transition to our what do you got? If anyone can come back from a 3-0, it's these Lakers against these Nuggets. I don't know, Brian. That's an interesting question. If there's one team to do it, right? LeBron, I guess, is the guy that you would probably say, hey, he could get hot with AD, who you have 2 top 75 players. You have Austin Reeves, who obviously is Larry Bird at moments this playoffs. Like,
yeah, I mean, just
sloppy all over the court. I mean, it's interesting.
I guess you got to take it game by game and just don't let them win it on your home court and try to take it back. You never know with
injuries.
Yeah.
Right? You never know with injuries. You got to finish it off when you can. There is that point. I feel like Denver does it in 5, though. I don't know if they sweep. What do you think? You think they sweep?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be pretty hard to do it on the Lakers' home court.
I don't know. I think Denver's going to be highly motivated to like kill him, but I just feel like LeBron's got one last kind of hurrah of there to not get swept in a series. I feel like that's kind of something he can I don't know, maybe hang his hat on to not have that over his head. So I'm going to say he's going to. I just don't see the Lakers coming back at this point. We'll see. I feel like Murray's just been, man, he's been killing it. And the Lakers aren't getting the same thing from Russell and Walker and those type of guys that they were against the Warriors, where the Warriors couldn't do anything. And they're getting scoring from the bench, and the Warriors are getting nothing at all. So obviously a big factor there. Hey, let's keep it going here with we always like to do this here on the Fatboy FadeAway Sports. Always shout out guys. This guy you can't miss. And obviously he passed away this week. The other day, Jim Brown. At 87, passed away in his home in LA. Lived a good life, Brian. NFL icon. I remember growing up, they used to do those ESPN Century things. And remember, like they did that one countdown. I want to say in like 2000 or something like that. And he was like kind of on that list of guys. He always seemed to me like that Babe Ruth category, that like Willie Mays category, like somebody that's kind of untouchable in that regard. So, and he always kind of portrayed that with the way he held himself too, right? The way he even looked and the way he spoke, his civil rights movement actions there, him being in movies, and then just him running his stats alone, as I got him going here at the bottom as well. I don't know, just insane. Like I said, I'll read some of it right now. Played 9 seasons with the Browns. Like I said, had 262 catches for over 2,500 yards, ran for over 1,200. Had a season, Brian, where he ran for more yards than I believe half the league. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me back then? That's the kind of like things he was doing for that stuff right there. And then he always makes appearances. I think he's a strong leader. When you got guys like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar saying that, some of the best athletes to ever play, they looked up to him. I just, we lost a true sports legend this week in Jim Brown.
Yeah, I mean, he was just a legend, and also I actually considered him a very good actor as well. He was in some movies.
Yeah, no, he was in some movies. We'll get into that here in a second as well. I wanted to kind of one of the stats, like I said, he ran for the most there and 1 yards. He won the 3 MVPs. He retired early. That was always one of the things that I kind of remember standing out. Right, as a kid, you kind of heard that legacy of him retiring early and not getting hurt and getting into the movies, like you said. So, like I said, we never obviously got a chance to see him play, but just like kind of one of those like real throwback sports icons here that you hear about. So we had to feel like we really had to shout out Jim Brown on that, of course. And obviously, like you said, NFL legend, put up historic stats that nobody, in some cases, Brian, that will never be broken. And you kind of talked about him being an actor too, and how he kind of paved the way for some athletes in that regard, broke a lot of barriers color-wise in that regard, which was great. So our question of the week here, brought to you by Row One Brand. Use that code VSP15. Get anything off in the art gallery. Maybe a Jim Brown picture, him running in the old NFL days there, the championship games. My question of the week here is name an athlete that have been in movies. Like, what are some other athletes that have been in movies that you think of? Who you got?
I got Rick Fox because he's been in a lot of the movies I've seen.
I don't think about Rick Fox very much. Name a good one.
And then he played a bad guy in One Tree Hill where he got Nathan to shave points.
He's wondering. I love it. What was the other one you said?
I was gonna say the movie with Ray Allen where he plays the recruiter.
Oh yeah, he was
in that movie too.
Hey, Jim Brown, he was in the last one. The one I remember the most is the Attack on Mars.
Oh yeah,
that was the one that I kind of remember him being in the.
That was probably an off the wall movie.
Here's some ones I got, Brian, here in movies. I got obviously Shaq and Penny, right? They were in, and Shaq's been in other ones too, but those ones. Does Arnold Schwarzenegger count, body lifter? MJ, I got LeBron. Michael Irvin, I kind of liked him in that movie.
Yeah, in that movie with Adam Sandler.
He had that impact there. Mike Tyson in Hangover. I thought he gave quite a performance in Hangover.
Where he knocked that guy out cold.
Yes. So that's what I had it next. Ryan, me and you think alike. That's why me and him coach together. We you know what I mean? Different, but we think the same thing.
Lee Trevino.
I can think Lee Trevino, and he already writes it. I love it. Lee Trevino, remember the looks he just gave alone, and Happy Gilmore deserve it. That's a good one. Patrick Ewing always felt tough. He didn't say much, but that was a tough one in Space Jam there. I also got Kyrie Irving. How about your guy, Terry Bradshaw?
Yeah.
Terry Bradshaw. He's been in a few as well.
And
Dan Marino, right? Ace Ventura.
And then Brett Favre and Something About Mary.
Oh yeah, Brett Favre. I forgot about that one. Everybody forgets about Marino and what's the one that's not everybody considers a good Sandler movie? He like goes to hell or something like that. He's like I'll give up anything I'll give up anything for a Super Bowl ring. I go to basically say he'll go to hell for a Super Bowl ring. I always like that kind of part. John Sally randomly, and then of course your guy Ray Allen. I like this Dick Butkus. He was in like a random TV show. I feel like too, right? Where he played like the PE coach or something like that, a principal. I kind of feel that
Dick
way.
Butkus wasn't in the Will Ferrell movie. It was Mike Ditka.
Yeah. They kind of
when they're coaching that soccer team against.
That's right. That was Mike Ditka. But Dick Butkus was an actor too, and he did play in this TV show. I can't think of it right now, but it was on Saturday afternoon.
It was great, that movie, because Will Ferrell called him
Little Nicky. That's what it was called. Little Nicky. Sorry.
He called him Juice Box Boy.
Juice Box Boy. I loved it, that movie where he's blowing the leaves over the fence. It's like, get those leaves over. I'll do anything for Dick. I'll beat him anytime. I love in that movie randomly that the sport they play to battle it out is tetherball. Like out of all the sports to do to battle it out, they got to go tetherball court. To me, that always cracks me up with that one. So I got to go. Those are some of the ones that kind of came to my head there. Thinking of Jim Brown, thinking of his life there, Brian. I don't know, man. We lost. What was it? We did Vita Blue last week here. Jim Brown this week. Lost some legends here over the last couple of weeks. So that's our question of the week. Shout out to some of the athletes that have tried acting there over the years. So I don't know. Wasn't Paul Correa randomly in Mighty Ducks? I gotta remember. I feel like.
Oh yeah. Then the second one, the one where they're on the American team.
Yeah, he made a small cameo in that one as well. I feel like we're probably forgetting another one. Oh, Ken Griffey. What was it? Ken Griffey and Randy Johnson. And what was that one? They were in little big league or something like that, right? Ken Griffey robs the home run at the end of the game or something like that. So
or the one where the guy plays the pitcher. God.
Oh yeah, Rookie of the Year.
Not Rookie of the Year, but he's the guy who he married the star who Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Oh yeah. The spring one where they go to spring. Yeah. Not Fever Pitch. I know one you're talking about where they go to the summer and stuff.
He hits a home run off of him in his first.
Yeah. No, I remember who you're talking about. Gosh, I forget who that was now. All right, so that's our question of the week here. Like I said, row 1 Brown, VSP 15. Appreciate you guys. Lee Trevito. I love that, Ryan. That's a great one. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Lee Trevito, great answer there. Dick Butkus. It's funny that he said Dick Butkus, and he didn't mean it because he was also an actor. That's what was kind of
it was.
That's what's funny about that part. And then Little Nicky, considered one of the worst Adam Sandler movies. I think a lot of people don't like that one, if I believe. But
I would probably say the worst one is where, he has a twin sister, but it's the same character.
No, I kind of refused to see that one, so I'm not surprised that made your list is on that one. But Happy Gilmore definitely up there as one of the favorites. All right, hey, Raiders question here. Could you see I saw this little rumor that the Raiders said they could trade him after June 1st because of Adam's comments he made about the front office. Basically saying that we don't see eye to eye on certain things, and obviously because Carr, he's buddy with Carr, and that's the main reason he went there. I do too. I just want to say this. I actually like it too. It's kind of it's how I feel like a lot of people. I know a lot more people like Wedding Singer, but there's a lot of people that don't like no, I don't like that movie. It's too much as well. I'm in the Wedding Singer. I like that kind of that one kind of gets me as well. The Adam Sandler thing. So I'm going to go there with that as well. But you think there's a chance they trade this guy at all, Brian? I don't think there is. But do you think he's actually pissed off about it, or do you think he's kind of over it now after talking to the GM where he said, what the GM say? I love it. He's the man.
Yeah, I think that's the reason he came to the Raiders is because he wanted to play with Derek Carr.
Yeah.
After one season, they went out and got Jimmy. So,
you think he's worried about the checkdowns?
Yeah, that's the thing with Jimmy is he can't get outside the numbers, so that's going to affect more of Devontae Adams' stats than if Derek Carr was there.
I don't know, man. Like the one thing with Carr though, he did check down a lot, but you're right. Carr did at least go deep a little bit more, but maybe Jimmy. I feel like a lot of people just remember Jimmy for that playoff run. I'm not saying he's a great quarterback, but he was hurt in that playoff run you guys made the Super Bowl, and he was terrible. Don't get me wrong, he was awful. And he doesn't do certain things great, but he was like a pretty good quarterback for a while. You guys always have legitimately won with him. I'm just hoping he makes a little bit more of a difference for the Raiders in that regard. But back to the Adams point here, I don't like it when my star receiver says that we don't see eye to eye with the front office. I'm not a fan of that, Brian. That doesn't make me happy.
Yeah, that's not good when your star receiver says that. That's not a good way to go into the season.
And Jimmy G needs him. The offense needs him. If anything, he's going to take a couple defenders with him. Hopefully, Jimmy G can do what he did with them and hit your tight ends, hit your running backs, do those little things. So I'm hoping it's just kind of Adams getting some things out before the season starts, right? The wide receiver drama in the offseason, that's kind of not a new thing, right, Brian? That happens here once in a while. So we dealt with Debo last year. So. Yeah, exactly. You guys have dealt with that. Other teams deal with the drama. He got Hill, obviously, with the Chiefs a few years ago. That resulted in a trade. Hopefully, that's not the case here at Adams. That already happened. All right, hey, just real quick here. You think the Raiders? My interesting question because that Carr Garoppolo dynamic. Do you think the Saints have a better record or the Raiders?
I'm going to go with that. I actually think the Saints are going to surprise people and go back to the playoffs because of the Carr acquisition.
Well, I'm of course going Raiders because of the homer feel here, but I think people are overrating Carr a little bit. I know I'm even Casey, who's a Raiders fan, my brother here, and most other people disagree with me and think Carr's the better player. I don't know. Like I guess from the eye test, he does look better at times. But I don't know. There's also things where I think a lot of people just forget what Garoppolo, and a lot of people don't see Carr. I know, Ryan, you disagree with this probably with Carr as well. Nothing would surprise me with the Raiders. Nobody sees eye to eye with the front office. And see, and Ryan, you guys, every year we get a new front office every 5 years, and nobody freaking agrees with it. At least they have Adams. They got to win. The Carr thing's going to be interesting because if they don't win, Brian, like let's say they go with Jimmy G. Let's say they start out 1-4, right, or something like that. They're kind of, they're like, oh man, we're back to the same thing. But that's why I was kind of ready to move on from Carr because I don't want to go with Carr again and go 1-4. I'd rather do it with Jimmy G, and then you kind of cut bait quicker again.
Yeah, we'll just see with Jimmy because Jimmy's issue was staying healthy. So,
yeah, Jimmy J Springs is like getting out of the shower. The Vegas showers, can we get him a flat one? He doesn't have to get out. Get him on the road. A nice, easy one. They don't have to do anything. No, on the field, anything where he has to roll out, it is troubling. I am kind of starting to get excited here for football season a little bit again. It's randomly always happens to me a little bit. As soon as the Warriors season ends, I start to get jacked up again for the Raiders, for Raiders football here. Even though it's always depressing. We haven't won. I saw again, right? We haven't won a playoff game in 20 years. Unbelievable here. And I got a Chiefs fan on that's been commenting that his team is just winning left and right. Could that be more frustrating?
yeah. I mean, the upside with Jimmy is can he do what he did with the Niners when he came to the Niners? They weren't winning, and then the winning took over once he got there. So could he do that with the Raiders?
Well, and Brian, and the thing with Carr too that always surprises me, and people are always quick to say, "Well, Carr, was hurt that one year when he did make the playoffs." I agree, that was the one year where it maybe things change, where he does get hurt before the Chiefs. But other than that, they just made the playoffs that other year against the Bengals, and I don't know. I'm not saying I don't know. I guess I just never have bought into him as much as other Raiders fans have, and it doesn't mean he's going to not be better than Jimmy G, but I don't know. Like I just felt like it was time. So to me, this is an interesting question going forward into the season.
It is. It's going to be intriguing how both of those situations work out.
Will the Niners have 3 QBs on the roster the whole season? Why won't they have? I was thinking that. Why is there even a battle between these guys? Like maybe you just continue to have the battle the whole year, but why even think twice about it? Just keep all 3 guys.
Yeah, I mean they brought in Darnold they want him to be the third quarterback. I don't think they really want him to see the field at all.
Will he be the best quarter? Will this be the best defense ever?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty loaded. And when Fred Warner comes out and says that he thinks it's going to be a better defense than last year, he made the comment, defense wins championships.
I loved our Falcons guy, John, there with did you see his tweet that he sent back to you?
Yeah.
That was great. Where, as the Falcons fan, where he has the 3 pictures of that kid where it's like, nice. The kid's like this, and all pictures like pissed off, but he's like, nice, great, good for you, like stuff like that. So I think that's how a lot of people felt, Brian. Good for you. Your defense is going to be good again on that part. What do you think about Lance? He's got quarterback. They got the coach out there. He says watching Patrick Mahomes and watching the video of Mahomes, that's going to help him a lot. I don't really believe into that mental side of that by watching the video. It probably helps a little bit with mechanics. Watching Mahomes, he's obviously the best.
I think the bigger issue was they changed his throwing motion, so it's more of a not violent throwing motion. So they think that'll make a bigger difference. That's what created, I guess, the arm fatigue.
If Tyler's here, I think he would say, well, hopefully they don't violently run him 16 times a game.
Yeah, let's not do that again. Especially you got McCaffrey. Like, what's the point of running Lance that much?
You got to like McCaffrey saying he's never been happier. He loved the trade.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to love that, Brian. I think the Niners are primed to have just an awesome defensive year who's the defensive tackle they signed again from the Eagles?
Hargrave.
Yeah, so they get him, and then now they have Bosa if they stay healthy again. You have Warner, so you guys in his prime. You guys are locked and loaded. I just think you guys should just keep all 3 guys and don't make it a massive controversy like that.
Yeah, I mean,
or does keeping all 3 guys make it worse? I guess it maybe. I don't know.
No, it's not going to make it worse. I mean, I just think you just need to keep him there, like be cautious about things.
All right, so that's my last thing with the Niners. Any last football thoughts there on the Niners or Raiders there?
Purdy's going to start throwing at the beginning of June, so we'll see how that goes.
That's going to be a big thing here. That's going to be the biggest talk moving forward with it. Brian, as we finish up a couple questions here before the winners and losers, Spurs win the lottery again. How do they end up doing it? Every year they end up winning this thing. It feels like when there's a generational big available, right? They get Robinson in 87, they get Duncan in 98, then they end up with Victor with a name. If Tyler is here, he'd probably have to make fun of me with it. Webb and Miyama. I know I'm terrible with names. If you ever watch the podcast, that's a tradition on here. I will get it down. Just give me 7 years.
Don't make me try to pronounce it.
But how do they always get up with these bigs here? How do they end up with Victor again? Talk about rigged. I got to do something on that. How do they get these? We talked about the Knicks one in '85. And everybody, I just kind of had a feeling it was going to be the Spurs. I just had a feeling that he was going to be on the Spurs. Not the Warriors, but I just felt like the Hornets weren't going to get him. I didn't think the Rockets were going to end up with him. The Rockets also get some bigs over the years as well, but the Spurs always end up with, it seems like, the fundamentally good ones in that regard. What are your thoughts on him going to ending up in San Antonio?
Yeah, it just seems like that's a team that the NBA top brass likes. The Spurs. They like it when they start winning again. So maybe that's why they won the lottery.
So you're with me. You think there might be a conspiracy? Why did they go to the Hornets? Michael Jordan, does he not deserve it? Did he the gambling thing? Is that this NBA?
I don't know. I just feel like bad ownership with the Hornets.
They filed it. David Stern said, "Okay, if Michael Jordan ever becomes an owner, we cannot let him be good. We'll tell him. We'll hype up Kwame Brown for him. All right, we'll get that. We'll send him. And then we'll make sure he never gets the first pick. We have a generational player. I was kind of rooting for the Hornets to get him. You know me. I always liked the Charlotte Hornets as like my second favorite team. Randomly because of the Baron Davis era and all that back in the day. So
maybe the Hornets are cursed because they traded away Kobe Bryant for Vlade Divac.
That could be why. But they've made a lot of bad trades. That was one of them for sure. So anyways, Spurs end up with Victor. We'll see what that happens. That changes the NBA, Brian, going forward here, especially in the Western Conference, probably over the next 10 years. 7-4. As long as he doesn't get healthy, he's going to be, you know what I mean? 7-4, he can move and shoot. Wow. Unreal here what the Spurs just got. But there's some good players here. Scoot Henderson, the Hornets, if they take him, they definitely don't end up with a bad player in him as well. Ryan, if you're still with us, I got a question for you on this one here. You can help us with it. The A's, they're moving, or we talked about their thing with Vegas a couple times. Again, I believe they hit a little hiccup again with the money situation in Vegas, with like them not, because they got the land, right? They put the bid out for it, but they haven't really, there's no agreement quite. There's still like $195 million of loose money, but then it changes. I hear $75 million is bridging the gap. And the A's don't want to pay that $75 million as of right now to kind of commit to that land in Vegas, kind of like they didn't want to pay the $85 million in Oakland to commit to the land. The A's ownership is getting kind of thrown through the mud like they should right now. I feel like everybody's kind of on the A's bandwagon on this side. But and some good news with the A's, because they can't play baseball at all right now. Well, they have 10 wins. All right, so like Brian. Are you kidding me? Like right now, we might be looking at being the fans of one of the worst teams in the history of Major League Baseball that ever happened.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean,
it's so bad right now, man. Yeah. It's so bad. So let's talk about some good. Who are, in that regard, with that said, who are some of your favorite random A's players of all time? Like just some random guys that that fan base forget about that you like.
I definitely got to go with Rich Harden. I own one of his shirts.
Hey, Rich is on the wall. All right. Yeah, Rich Harden. Who else?
And then I got to go Eric Burnsy.
I had Burnsy.
Yeah. And then Miguel Tejada, Eric Chavez.
Who are some more random ones, though? Those are the stars. It's like Burns I like because he was kind of like a random guy, bench player. He dove into he would be like famous for diving in the big foul territory. Remember him? He would be doing all the diving over there and for the A's, he was like one of their only fast players back then. Remember, like they never would have any fast players, so he was a bigger deal because of that. I also had guys like before that, even Tony Phillips. I used to like him when he played on the A's. He was like a random guy I used to like. Matt Stairs. Gotta like Matt Stairs, right? He was definitely an all-time A's guy like that. Remember Jack Cust? Jack Cust.
Yeah, Jack Cust.
uh,
what about Jermaine Dye, or is he not considered random?
I feel like he's kind of too good, but we'll go with that. I like that one. He's a good one. I like Velarde, Randy Velarde. He was kind of random, And then I always thought like Mark Ellis was kind of one as well. And then I saw
our second baseman,
Dallas Braden. He's a good one for sure. He's always the perfect game. We talked about that last week on Mother's Day. That's one of my greatest A's moments. Actually, driving to my mom's house, listening to the game on the radio there with it. So I always like looking at some of this. The A's. Remember the name Omedo Signs?
Oh yeah,
right-handed hitter. He's one of my favorite ones ever. Hit a home run off the Giants closer Rob Nen in the ninth inning of 1999 to beat him. One of my favorite games I ever went to. So that was fun. So Omedo Signs is definitely one of mine for sure. I'm proud of our fan base throwing up the middle finger at ownership. The tomato tailgate was epic. Yeah, if anybody hasn't seen it, they have this big board up where they put the signs with the faces of Cavill and Fisher and Manfred, and people have tomatoes, and kids are throwing out the faces, Brian, in the parking lot. So it's awesome. No, I think the A's fans have been good. And I know on Twitter they're getting lit up, Fisher and all that stuff. Even guys like Big Cat, I don't know if you've heard of him from Barstool Sports. He even had a little something to say about the A's. Get off my mouth, Dallas Braden. Yes, A-Rod, get off my mouth. That was. Remember, he even made Letterman. He did Letterman's top 10 after that. I remember. That's how famous Dallas Braden became after.
Another player I thought of is Donaldson.
Who?
Donaldson.
Josh Donaldson. Yeah, no doubt. He's on that one for sure. Yeah. He's got to make that. I was thinking Frank Menachino.
Frank Menachino.
You remember Frankie? I always thought he had to do steroids. I always felt like he had to, but I don't want to call anybody.
And don't forget our manager, Mark Kotze.
Mark Kotze. He was kind of. And how about the name Rubio Durazo? Remember him for a little bit on the A's?
Oh yeah.
And then they had this guy. He was a right-handed hitter. I always thought he was going to be good. Esteban Herman. He was there. And then I had this other guy. He said Jordan Weeks. I don't know if you remember Jordan Weeks. They had him for a little bit at second base. They drafted him in the first round out of Miami. So there's some good A's random talk there. I always like to talk A's, old A's players, because right now me and Brian have nothing quality to talk about. JP Sears is the best pitcher on the A's. That's what we have to talk about right now with the A's. So
I think that's why we're looking forward to football season, because the A's are just so bad.
But like Ryan said, though, I do hope that the ownership sells and somehow they do get saved. Dusty Baker, I loved what he said about it. Brian, that is what I'm hoping, right? I'm just hoping that people just keep coming at this ownership. And they keep
because I mean, if they even botch this thing to Vegas, I mean, that's going to make them look even worse.
Exactly. So they'd have to sell at that point. All right. Yeah. Last one before winners and losers of the week with Joe Pavelski, like we mentioned earlier here to start the podcast with our guy here. Appreciate him tuning in as long as he has. Our guys from Vegas Benchwarmers here. They do a great job. Like I said, we talked about this a little bit earlier with Pavelski joining the Stars. Right now, I'm actually finding myself really getting into the hockey playoffs, and with Pavelski on the Stars and Burns on the Canes, I kind of been watching a little bit more. The Canes did go down 2-0 after the NBA game. I flipped right to the hockey game, and the Panthers won on a play in overtime. But I've been rooting for the Stars, who I don't like. Like, I don't like the Stars because of the history the Sharks ever had with them. But I am enjoying watching the games more. So I guess my question is, even though I hate rooting for the Stars, what matters more, the player or the team in that regard?
I'm gonna go probably the team, because I mean, I've always been a Shark guy, so it's hard for me to just vote for anybody besides the Sharks.
Okay, but like, so in football, like, has there ever been a Niners player that left and you rooted for them when they were in the Super Bowl to win it, to get a ring?
No, not really.
Never
No.
Why? You are harsh, man. So you're not going to root for Jimmy G and all this shit.
Maybe that's going to be more Tyler. Tyler's going to go for.
I don't know. I find it kind of interesting because, like, I remember really hating the Stars back in the day, and I'm actually really enjoying watching the hockey playoffs right now. So it's been fun, and even though I don't want the Stars to win, I do want them to win now because of the Pavelski. So sorry for our Vegas Benchwarmers guy here. I am rooting for the Stars for that reason. Let's see, as tough it is rooting for the Stars, rooting against the Knights makes it easier. That's great. Yeah. Hey, Ryan, I feel like that was the second round or was it the first round the Sharks came back and beat the Knights? on that long, or when they were down like 3-0 in the third period. I can't remember if that was the first round or the second round. I was trying to remember. Iverson is the only player I have done that with. You're dead to me once you leave my team. Hey, I respect that in that regard. Like, it's hard for me to root for other players when they leave my team. I'm just curious. For hockey, for me, it's kind of still more of a fringe sport, I think. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not fully invested like I am with the A's, Raiders, and the Warriors quite yet. I'm trying to get into hockey still more like that, even though I know the Sharks franchise a little bit. So I think that's part of my reasoning and thinking like that. But as I was rooting for him, I was like, I bet there's a lot of hockey fans that won't do that. And like our guy said here, I agree. I think most fans feel the same way. They're not rooting for it. So it'll be interesting who wins between the Stars and the Knights too. That's going to be a good series. I've been enjoying watching that one. They play tonight, game 2. So it'll be a big game between, we'll see who ends up pulling it out. Or not tonight. Tonight's between, tonight, Knights and Stars. So we'll see who ends up pulling that one out tonight. And a critical one for the Stars. They can't go down 2-0 on their home ice. Brian, let's get to the last part of the show here. Hockey every week now. I told you. I said I'm going to fit it in. I told you I'm going to fit it in. I'm going to fit it in. That's the Fatboy FadeAway.
It would be cool if the Florida Panthers made the Cup Finals.
Somebody said that there shouldn't be teams on the Sun Belt. It is kind of weird to me that Canada only has they didn't win again, so they haven't won a cup since like '93, I think it was.
Oh wow!
So now they can team. I always rooted for their teams too when they make it, but I was thinking about like the first finals like hockey memory I had, and you're perfect for this one to remember. Like I think Tyler and Casey be too young is the first one I kind of like really remember, like just kind of totally remember is the one where the Rangers played the Vancouver Canucks and with Messi.
Oh yeah.
Like that whole series I remember, and I forget who's the main announcer who did it back then. He does like Orioles games now. You know who I'm thinking of?
Yeah, the guy, because it was on ESPN then.
Yeah, no, what's his name? It's like God, what's his name? But anyways, he does he's famous. That's the first one I kind of remember as well, and that startup for the ESPN finals was like like the hockey. Remember, like like that was like the best part of it. Somebody help me with that announcement.
He always had that voice, like when they scored a goal.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to look it up right now. It's begin hockey announcers. But those are kind of the parts I liked about it the most. What do we got here? Steve Levy. I'm trying to see one I recognize. I don't see one I recognize at the moment. But anyways, those are the ones I just used to love those hockey playoffs for that reason. So just something I've really enjoyed with it so far. And that Rangers Canucks one is the main reason. And I also remember the Sharks beating the Red Wings in the first round. That's the one I remember as well. So it was like the two hockey ones. But I feel like I'm trying to remember who was that famous, or he was famous at the time. He played for the Canucks, like Briare or something like that.
Briare. Yeah,
he was like the famous Russian. I feel like he dated somebody. I don't even remember it, but I just kind of remember that being kind of a big deal.
He's married to the woman who was in Full House. Her name is
Jesse's wife.
She played DJ.
No way.
Yeah, they're married.
The oldest one?
Yeah.
That might be the best thing that came out of this podcast. I didn't even know that. I did not know that was a fact. Fun fact. You never know what you're going to learn here on the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast. All right, Brian, we're getting here doing an hour on the show. No Tyler, like we said this week. Shout out to him and Emily. They were at a wedding this week. Look forward to getting him back on the pod next week for Memorial Day. Appreciate everybody that's tuned in so far. Got Ryan commenting. Our guys, again, like I said, from Vegas Bench Warmers. Tyler, Ryan, you got to check them out on Saturday mornings. They do a good job on it on there. We also, like I said, our guys, The Hardaway, they're doing an NBA pod later today, so be sure to check them out as well. And check out your Team B podcast you did with Tyler not too long ago. You check that out.
I think if we don't do one this upcoming week, we're definitely going to do one. We're going to analyze when Purdy throws to see how he looks.
I want that film like a hockey. Get that thing, break that baby down for me here. Get that. We're gonna get full content. Larry Cruz.
I guess right now he's just throwing with a towel or something.
So let's see that. That's why we do T and B, because you guys will break down the nitty gritty. Can Tyler even break down the nitty gritty like that? I just can't see him having the patience. I get it. He's gonna look at you and
I'm gonna be the one. I'm gonna be the one that's gonna have to do that.
You're gonna have to break down the arm angles for us, Brian. All right, hey, winners and losers here of the week. Like I said. Brian, You got to. You want to go losers or winners first? I'll let you start it off.
I'll go losers. I'm gonna go MLB fans. There's been a lot of brawls lately, and maybe we need to relax a little bit. It's just a baseball game, but there's this at a Guardians game, two different couples were getting into an argument, and then they start throwing blows at each other in the stands. It was just insane.
There was one between the Lakers Grizzlies. I saw that was crazy too.
We're at the Dodgers game.
The Dodgers Padres, man, they seem to always have crazy ones.
In the parking lot, some guy just gets knocked out cold on film. I mean, it's crazy.
They got to be 90% alcohol related, right?
Yeah.
They got to be 90%. Yeah, they got to be 90% alcohol rated.
Or that time we went to the A's game and that guy is getting handcuffed on the ground and screaming, "I didn't do anything."
I forgot about that. I forgot about that. Yeah, that guy was he was definitely pretty wasted though. That guy definitely better be pretty taped at that game. Yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny. That's a good one for loser of the week. Yeah, the baseball fights and fans. You're right with the wives when they get involved, man. They get it's crazy to see how intense they get. Would you rather be the person at the bottom or the top? I got to, which one's the better angle? The guy coming at the top or the bottom of it? All right. I got for loser of the week. You know me. I always got a few of them. The guy from the Yankees, he gets 10 games for having a sticky hand. He gets that. Zach Gallen kills a bird like Randy Johnson did during warmups. He ended up killing him doing that. Padres have lost 6 in a row. Machado's on the DL. Mentioned them kind of sucking. Blue Jays coach yesterday goes to the mound 2 times in 1 inning. Forgot about the second visit early in the game. Pitcher had to be removed. Forgot about that. That's loser of the week. Celtics ending the game. Terrible. Lakers, we talked about that end of the game situations. And like I said, always loser of the week. Fisher, you suck. John Fisher, you're always a loser of the week. So
I got one more loser. The Usos right now. You're getting on Roman Reigns' he can't stand you right now. So
has Lesnar done again? Is he back or is he kind of still
remember he cost Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, but is he still in the tournament championship at all?
I mean, it's probably going to be a 1-match thing, and then Cody Rhodes is probably going to beat him again.
And that's our WWE Weekly.
Exactly.
We got to get like a little button for that. We got to get a little thing for that, Brian, when that happens. All right. Let's get to our winners of the week, and we'll get it out of here. Brian, what do you got for winners of the week?
I'm going to go with the Denver Nuggets. I mean, I didn't think they'd go up 3-0 on the Lakers, and they're 1 win away from the NBA Finals, their first appearance in franchise history.
That's a good call there. That's a great call for winners of the week. I know our guys at the far end of the bench. 1 win away, Nico. 1 win away. I know you can feel it. Here, I got for winners of the week. Mike Malone, like I said, one of the quotes of all time there. What are the quotes? Put that in your cigar and smoke it. We're up 2-0. Gotta like that. I love how he added we're up 2-0. Like I said, that guy's definitely got East Coast vibes too. Like he just has I don't know if he even is from the East Coast, but the way he talks, and I love his high pitched voice. Have you ever, like I said last week, he has that one scene where he's like, "Come on, guys, come on, let's go, defense, keep fighting, let's go."
That reminds me of the old time Celtics announcer.
Brian, WNBA's back. I know you've been watching, right? Nope. So that a lot of people I know. Our guy, the Las Vegas Aces, I know they're supposed to be stacked.
It was on at the gym yesterday, and I saw Brittany Griner's back.
She was back. She's back. John Cena, winner of my son continues to love John Cena at the house. That's all I hear about is Jonathan Cena. He always asks me, "Is he retired, Dad? Is he retired?" I said, "I don't know." So John Cena, you're continuing to be a winner of the week, just somehow not even fighting anymore. Man City, Premier League, they end up winning it this week. Lakers, I'm going to mention it as many times as I can, right? Lakers, you lost 3 in a row. We're just going to keep bringing up Lakers losing. And then, so that's my winner of the week, believe it or not, is the Lakers losing. And then finally, Mitchell Trubisky. I don't know how he does it, Brian. 3 years, gets a 3-year contract from the Steelers. How does Mitchell continue to get these contracts?
I don't know. I mean, he's just, I guess he seems like a career backup, but people keep investing in him.
Well, he's not very good to be invested in, so it's continued to be shocking that continues to be the case. But I know he can throw, like, I don't know. I know quarterbacks are slim picking.
I hope the Niners not knock out Pickett, and we have to play.
That's right. You guys play week 1, huh?
Yeah.
I forgot you guys played the Steelers on week 1. All right, real quick here. Birthdays of the week. You, right?
Me?
Yeah, you and 40. Happy birthday this week, my
big
man.
40, the big 41.
Yep, welcome to that club there, the 41 club. You also shared the week, Reggie Jackson. You shared that week with Reggie Jackson, and you have the same. And you also today, a little shout out to. I wanted to shout out just because I remember him getting thrown out of a lot of games. Bobby Cox. You shared that birthday with him. 162 ejections. So thought that was kind of a funny stat here for you as well, Brian. I thought that was a good podcast there, my friend. We talked about a lot of things there this week. Appreciate you jumping on with me. We talked to Warriors, NFL, all those good things. Appreciate our guys at Vegas, Bench Warmers, tuning in. I don't know about you, but, man, when people coming in like Ryan and Tyler, it does make the show a little better. I know other people do it too, and it's hard to do it all the time at shows. So I try to do that a little bit more with other shows. And so I really appreciate taking time out of your morning to spend it with us and listen to us talking sports. And well, I appreciate that, man. That means a lot to us. And like I said, you guys do a good job there.
Again, go Golden Knights.
Golden, stop sucking up, man. Stop sucking up. I like I said, just kind of keeps us going. So appreciate you guys tuning in there with it. Ryan, like I said, hockey every week. I'll do my best to mention it. Brian Johnson.
All right.
I'll see you next week, my friend.
Peace.
Later.